In this way, we will begin this evening interaction with the idea of transformation. In this way, you can all begin to recognize that the cycles you have created in your physiological reality will invoke patterns in the material day-to-day experiences that you are creating your lives to be. And now can be seen for many of you who are exploring the idea of the blending of different levels of your consciousness to take place and reflect to you these patterns in the forms of transformation in the ideas, the habits, the patterns, the day-to-day experiences you have lived for so long. You will now understand that many ideas you are experiencing may seem to be being uprooted in your lives, and in this way destabilizing what has always been for you seemingly a foundation upon which you could rely. In this way, recognize it is not so much that you are becoming unstable, but that you are simply recognizing that change is becoming your stability. Because in this way, the idea of the fourth density transformation, the blending of your consciousness, will invoke and create you to be an individual being who always will allow themselves to transform into whatever it is they need to be, to allow themselves to be the idea that they chose to be in this physical material world in which you have chosen to live. Thus, change being the only constant in the universe will become your staple, will become your foundation. You may find at first that because of simply the ideas you are holding on to, the things you have made attachments to, the way you're used to thinking of things, that it may seem at first to be unsettling, upsetting, upside-downing in this way, disorientating in this way, confusing. But again, simply recognize that these ideas are only part and parcel of your ability to now consciously realize that you are unlocking from one viewpoint, one reality, one idea of what you think life is all about, and allowing yourself to reorient into new modes of perceiving the idea of what it is to even be a being in physical materiality. All of these concepts in this way, what you have for so long considered the idea of being physically real to be, now you are beginning to understand are all based on assumption, and that is only one way that you can exist in a physical materiality. All of the ideas that you have for so long held to be the cherished laws of your universe are now being seen to be the agreed-upon ideas that you have all decided to experience to create the illusion for the idea that you have all agreed upon in physical reality, because you made the choice to experience limitation. You made the choice to experience the idea of forgetting that you are the creator of your reality, so that you could explore that particular corner, I shall say, of all that is. Because limitation is one of the ways you can experience creation. Now, you are at the end of the cycle of limitation and beginning to create the idea of the recognizing of integration, the blending of all levels of your existence in the embodiment that you now consider yourself to be, this aspect of your soul self upon what you call your physical planet Earth. As you allow yourselves to do so, all of the previously preconceived notions about what reality should be, what you have experienced reality to be, are all finding themselves dissolving like what you call your proverbial house of cards, and in this way laying down a new understanding that everything in your physical materiality is and is becoming as malleable as the reality you perceive in what you call your dream state. Because your physical reality is the product of your dream state, only you have created it in your belief structure to seemingly be a more solidified one. You are dreaming right now. There is no difference between this reality you call physical and any reality you call the idea of your non-physical dream state reality, except that you give yourself the opportunity to create the difference in the definition physical, non-physical. That definition is the only thing that creates there to be a difference. And now many of you are finding that as you are blending and redefining the terms of your reality, recognizing that reality, your physical reality, is not something that exists without you, but is only the product of what you believe your reality to be, you are now allowing yourself to gather to your conscious realization the notion that your physical reality can become anything you desire it to be, anything you imagine it to be. And as such, when you allow yourself to begin to blend the cognition that your dream reality and your physical reality can both come to terms, can be meeting on equal levels within the dimension of your imagination, then many of the ideas you have heretofore considered only to be dreams will become more solid. Many of the ideas you have heretofore only decided to be physical reality and solid will become more dreamlike, more surreal, as you use that terminology, until you allow yourself to know in your conscious awareness that they will both blend within the dimension of your imagination, and in that dimension, everything in your reality that you have for so long desired to be possible is possible, and you can allow yourself to avail yourself of all the probable realities. You will then consciously allow yourself to recognize you are as a being by definition. In this way, in what you call your literature, when it is said in your own words that you are made in the image of the Creator, do not forget that the Creator, that all that is a multi-dimensional idea. And in this way, you are, and every being in creation is made in the image of the Creator in that way, and therefore every being exists on every level, every dimension, every parallelity that there is, and in this way you are simply understanding that all that you are learning about yourself in the blending of the transformations now taking place is not so much learning anything new, but only remembering more and more and more of all that you already are, existing at all these different levels. You are discovering more of yourself, integrating, owning all of these ideas, and therefore allowing yourself, even while you have created an aspect to exist in physical reality, in owning that cognition, then even the aspect of you that exists in physical reality will create a harmonious, synchronous reflection of that cognition, of the knowledge that you exist on every level, and therefore even in physical reality, you will be able to know that you can live your dreams and create the phrase in your terminology, heaven upon earth. Are you all following along? Yes. In this way, therefore, recognize that all of the transformations you may now see accelerating around you in this way are all symptomatic, so to speak, all part and parcel of the idea of the path you have always desired to be. Do not fear in this way, but should you find yourself fearing, then simply recognize that any fear that comes up for you is simply a message and a messenger bringing you one more piece of the self you have forgotten, so that you can know the totality of your consciousness. Treat your fear as a friend, bringing you more and more and more awareness of all the different portions you have for so long shut out of your reality. Now, when you accept the different pieces that your fear brings to you, then you will no longer fear in that way, in a negative sense, and you will allow all the transformations in your life to take place in a positive effect. You will allow every incident, every situation, every relationship, every opportunity in your life to be representative of the path you chose to be, and not an interruption in it, since you will understand that there is no such thing as an interruption, and that you are not on a path that can be interrupted. You are the path that you are on. You are the path that you are living. You cannot be off of yourself. Everything that you experience in your life is, if you are willing to view it in that way, a part of the path you chose to be. Should you decide to view the situation as negative, then that will automatically bring with it the inability to recognize that the situation is a part of the path, because viewing it from a negative point of view automatically brings with it the definition of forgetting, of limitation, of not allowing yourself to know you are connected, that you are creating every single situation in your life, and that it all is there for the purpose of serving you, to let you know, to allow you to realize you are the multi-dimensional creators of the reality that you experience, that you are self-empowered, that you have the control, that your lives are what you wish them to be in this way, and you can partake in ecstasy and joy. All of the ideas you have held in your heart and desire to experience for so long, for now the tens of thousands of your years of counting of the cycle of limitation are at an end, and you are beginning the adventure into yourself, the recognition and the fruition of all you have ever imagined or dreamed to be possible within this physical reality. For this is, in a sense, the purpose for which you began the exploration and limitation in this physical reality you call your planet Earth. And now you have arrived once again in your reincarnational state to participate in a most joyous reunion, that reunion being the reunion of all portions of yourself. You follow me? Sure. Yes. Only at this time, once again, we will remind you what we have said about the idea of the combination of the red and green vibration being the connection of your heart and the connection of the recognition of the transformation of your planet Earth, which is represented by the emerald ray vibration at this time. You are simply seeing within your own consciousness the alteration of your perceptions and looking through gateways into other dimensions or levels of yourself. It is also connected to some degree to some of the ideas we discussed about Polaris. In this way, do recognize that because you have created the notion of the idea of patterns and cycles, you will now find in this way that, at least in a generalized sense, what you now call your 8th, your 9th, and your 10th months will see the idea of much upheaval in terms of lifestyle, much change in the idea of individuals of yourselves and individuals that you know. Allow yourselves to be of service to any individual who now finds themselves interacting with you and expressing to you their confusion of the idea that everything in their lives seems to be changing, unhinging, unlocking, falling apart. For allow yourself to recognize that these 3 months following in this way, 8, 9, and 10, are your mass consciousness recognition patterns and the unlocking of the energy that will take place, followed by the idea of 11, 12, and 1. And the transformation through a large energy gate into what you call the idea of 1987, which shall be a year of realization and manifestation on many different levels. The spring bringing with it one of the largest transformational doorways upon your planet altogether. You have created this momentum. Feel the pulse of your own self-empowerment. It is, not hasn't been. Thank you. Briefly.
We have here in our house completed life experience, and recently I heard some information regarding that sphere, which I really have questions about. I was told it's now type
All right.
from the Asian area, a planet called Alibaba, and it's secret. And then possible from love. Tremendous amount of information really
In this way, first of all, recognize it is not so much the idea of the physiological representation from someone else, but an identification to someone else through a representative symbol on your own planet.
So, what I was actually told was it was brought by extraterrestrials and placed on this planet in terms of the information to
Only in the form of energy identification.
so not physical.
No.
And is it connected with
They,
and does it hold within it these ideas of
the blending of the green and the white, again, your planetary energy of the emerald ray mixed with the idea of the white light vibration of transformation. No.
Okay, then the last thing is, I have to tell you about Jared Leithoff, which is supposedly used for the purpose of rejuvenating the body. I wanted to ask you to tell me what it is, how it works, and whether it's that.
First of all, of course, understand that like any physiological symbol, it works because you believe in it. If you do not believe in it, it does not work. It is simply one more manifestation, to some degree, of a recognition on one of the individuals in your planetary sphere of influence's part to recognize that there are a blending or a combination of idea of liquid forms in that way and energy forms that might represent a mass consciousness understanding of alignment within the body and revitalization. To some degree, it is a stimulation of certain cellular structures in this way, but once again, to understand that more and more, many of these things may come about, but more and more you will also find that many of the things that are being created by different individuals in your planet may have relevance to those individuals, but not necessarily to the masses. They are all valid for the individual who allows their imagination to co-create that idea to some degree. Although, once again, in the idea of the timing taking place, there will also be many individuals who have formed within themselves the idea of a negative confusion about what all of these symbols mean, and in this way may be reading more into a symbol than they are willing to take responsibility for the action themselves. In this way, you will simply find that it is one more thing you can feel so inclined to experiment with. Our perception in this way is that the idea, once again, of unlocking the crystalline energy in purified water will be just as beneficial. Follow me. The idea of simply imparting your blue-white electromagnetic auric field into purified water, knowing that you have crystallized that idea as an externalized symbol of the master crystal you are, and then in that way ingesting the water and feeling the alignment of your auric field and the imbuement and the radiation of your blue-white energy, will perform the same type of symbological centering and clearing and crystallizing as any other idea invented, so to speak, out of the imagination of any individual upon your planet. It all, in a sense, boils down to that archetypal symbol of the water anyway, no matter what the concoction. Follow me. Simply what you refer to in your language as purified water. Hey. Sure! Hey! Hey! In this way, you recognize, of course, that by definition, any other level of consciousness from yourself or anywhere else, so to speak, that is going to be connecting with you, by definition, must have an interest in you.
I mean, it speaks a lot about it caring for me and what it thinks of me.
Do recognize that what you are allowing yourself to do right now is form an identification with many portions of your own higher consciousness, which in turn will reflect back to you your worthiness and validity and ability for unconditional love and respect towards yourself, so that you can make other connections. You are going to be in touch and are in touch with different levels of other consciousness, but primarily what you are now perceiving are different levels of your own higher consciousness that are being reflected back to you in ways to allow you to validate yourself. That is why it seems to be so interested in you. Because you are interested in validating yourself. You follow me? Thus, it will always, as any guide will do, reflect to you those portions of the ideas that you most need, so that you know that the interest that is there is an indication of your willingness now to show the same interest for you from yourself. You follow me?
Oh yeah, I feel an awful lot of the love that speaks up towards me from myself while I'm channeling a good after.
You are acclimating just fine. Again, it is not so much the need for the idea of labeling anything, but in this way, allow yourself to simply participate in whatever type of interaction seems to be taking place. Allow the emotions to come through. It will all be for the purpose of the idea of blending and accelerating yourself into more of your being.
Do you know anything of this particular entity?
Other than what we have just shared with you, now is not the time. For in this way, it would only be imposing more labels.
Right.
And causing more separation. There will be an opportunity later for more clarification in that way, but you will find in the sense that the more you simply trust whatever interaction you have chosen to be a part of, the less you will need to label it. It will simply come in whatever manner it needs to, and will simply fit into whatever interactions need to occur for whom it must interact with. All right. Thank you. Guys.
Bashar, you talked earlier in your introduction about parallelity, parallel lives. And am I at this time experiencing parallel lives? And so can you describe them to me?
You are not experiencing parallel lives. The oversoul has many aspects and fragments that are parallel to the fragment you are here. You follow me?
Yes.
Does that make sense to you?
That makes no sense. What impact does that have on me in this lifetime?
You allow yourself the idea of what you call bleed-through to some degree, to allow yourself to simply feel connections in many different levels, in many different experiences that you may require to allow yourself to draw from the knowledge bank of the total you, so that you can simply act in this life instinctively, as you can also do in other lives instinctively, as they draw from your experiences here.
Can you give me an example of a parallel life that my oversoul is experiencing in addition to mine?
The idea that you call surgeon.
Was there more than that to it?
Okay? Why do you need to know more?
Because at this point I'm interested.
Why?
Because things are influencing me.
No. Nothing influences you but you. You choose to be influenced.
All right, I'm choosing to be influenced.
Why?
Because I want knowledge.
All right. Then in that way, allow yourself to trust that your imagination is your tunnel, is your conduit. Go through it and explore freely. You are not looking for accuracy. There is no one background against which to measure anything that you discover in your imagination as being more valid than something else. Anything you form a connection to has validity for what you need to know now. Follow your excitement.
I do.
Oh, right.
Another question is, what are the functions of the pituitary gland in the human body? And do you have that?
There are many ideas of function. In this way, we have a representation to some degree. Yes. In this way, you will find that along with other portions of the brain and other glandular systems in your body, it will form an energy foundation to allow there to be a balancing of electromagnetic energy that you partake of on your planetary sphere to create from consciousness the idea you call mentality or mind in physical reality. Mind is the physical reality's version of non-physical consciousness, and it is created through the balancing effects of those glandular systems.
How do you stimulate your pituitary gland to be more active?
Your imagination.
Is that the only way?
No, but it is the simplest.
Or are there other ways?
Whatever your imagination comes up with. Again, understand, the idea is that if you find yourself attracted to certain substances in your reality, such as lecithin, such as laetru, such as what you call vitamin B. You will find that many of these ideas, along with what you call some mineral ideas, zinc, iron, copper, magnesium, small amounts, will form some association to stimulation of certain ideas in that area. So will certain forms of magnetism. So will certain forms of electricity. In this way, so will certain crystalline forms in that sense. But in this way, recognize that each and every one of those symbiological ideas are only an externalized reflection of your imagination's ability to cohesively come up with an external representation of what your imagination is doing anyway. The vibration of your imagination is the conduit to your so-called higher self, itself. And in this way, if you simply allow the energy through directly, you will not need to have it rerouted into an external symbol and then back to you. You follow me?
Is that why people use crystals? For external symbols?
Yes. At this time, it is a more rarefied external symbol than many you have been using, because it is almost an energy state itself. Thus, though it is still a symbol, it is to some degree more rarefied than many of the ideas you have been experiencing upon your planet, such as the ingestion of medications and other ideas. But it is still an external symbol, okay? You are your own master crystal, always. Understand that in this way, the so-called foundation or entry point of your consciousness, while it is supported by the idea of the pineal and the pituitary, the hypothalamus, are all supporting balancing systems for the idea that your consciousness first creates connection to what you call your physiological brain through the very center, the membrane you call the corpus callosum. For in this way you will find that there is a whole different understanding and structure in your brain that you have yet to discover. The idea of all the separating membranes that, so to speak, sectionalize the brain are in and of themselves the actual supporting framework through which the consciousness is first routed before it differentiates into the cellular clusters that represent what you think are the actual actuating mechanisms of mentality, but are not.
Sure.
One moment. Will that have been of assistance to you?
I think I got confused. I understand what you said. I understand the words, but I have to think about it.
All right. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Did you say something about tonsils?
In this way, you will find that it will be a balancing to a certain type of mineralized electromagnetic balance within your system and supply some electrolytic balance within your system. It is a regulator of a type that has to do with the idea of rerouting, of off-flow, of resonance. In a sense, though the idea of the tonsils may be more representative of a different type of switching mechanism, whereas the appendix in this way will be more of an assimilating mechanism. Now, the idea, for a moment again, of what we have been discussing as the foundation of the brain structure, the seeming separations in the clusters actually being the foundation, will have a degree of similarity to the recognition your society scientifically is beginning to understand with what it calls strings. You follow me?
No.
Your idea in what you call physics, astrophysics, strings being the representation of the primal conduits that give validity to the clusters that you call solid space-time reality, but that within themselves are not representative of any space and time at all. More on that later. Just thought I'd throw that in. Because there is a correlation between the way your physical brain is set up and the way strings interact within the physiological universe, supplying connections and conduits from many other universes at the same time. Like the black holes, but different. Yes?
I have a baby who experienced oxygen deprivation at birth and consequently suffered brain damage. She has what's called cerebral palsy. I'm trying to understand, for one thing, why it is that supposedly, anyway, the brain is the only structure in the body that once the cells die, they're dead.
This is not so.
It's not so?
No.
Can you tell me anything
You are
about
beginning in your own society to begin to understand this idea. More of what you call oxygen and more of what you call silicon. And more of some electromagnetic and electrical activity along with nitrogen and carbon can be manufactured in this way to provide more of the building blocks that are required for the recomposition of the cellular structure of your brains. In this way, you will find that it is simply that you have not yet supplied the proper soil, so to speak, for the idea of what you consider to be the rarefied cellular structure of your brain to take advantage of within your mass consciousness, to allow itself to draw from the mass consciousness energy pool to restructurify itself. In this way, you can also understand that every thought that exists, every thought that you have, rewires, physically rewires, the neuronic pathways in your brain. Allow yourself, first of all, to recognize that the individual you call your child has chosen a form of limitation to allow other individuals around himself to also reach further into their own understanding of communication within themselves. And you can recognize that you can be in communication with that individual on other levels. Doing so may in and of itself create a type of electromagnetic atmosphere wherein that individual may not require any longer that particular manifestation in physical reality and can rewire the entire pattern to function in whatever form it needs to. For do recognize that your physicists and your medicinal practitioners have already discovered in many cases that you do not require all of the physiological brain in order to simply have full capacity.
Yeah, I did see a thing on television about people they discovered from CAT scans that where only a small portion of their brain was actually in use, and yet they had total motor control and they had high IQs, and it was this total puzzle, it seemed like.
That is simply because it has not been understood completely yet that the idea of the brain is, by nature, holographic. And that is, every portion contains the whole. All you need to do is rearrange your ideas about this. You can communicate with that being and allow them to come out of the shell they have created for the purpose of allowing you to delve further into your shell. All right?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey!
What is the harmonic resonance of the brain? Can you, you're painting a model for me of the harmonic resonance of the molecular structure of the brain. Can you go on?
It will, to some degree, be attached to the 7 1/2 cycle per second idea of the Earth vibration, although there will be variations within this to allow it to manifest some differences. In this way, the sub-frequency modulations will be approximately around 8 or 9. That is why you will find that the general ideas of when you approached 10 cycles per second in what you call your delta frequency will put you almost out of your body, because you are now forming a harmonic resonance with the very intrusion or introduction of consciousness into physical reality at all.
So you would agree then that learning harmonics and how harmonics, say, in music are...
It is one way to unlock the very essence of your physical reality. Thank you. Yes, one more time, continue. With child.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I have something else. On your planet, do you have ways, technologically, so to speak, of dealing with brain damage?
We do not have brain damage.
Oh, never occurred.
In this way, simply recognize it is a tool we do not need, so it does not occur. No.
Do you foresee, I think so anyway, I kind of see it, the idea of science is here developing actual physical ways of handling it.
Oh, yes. But do understand, yes, soon as you wish.
Bashar?
One moment. Do understand that anything that occurs in your physical reality as a so-called medical cure is only an external reflection for the fact that you now believe that it is possible to do that. And thus the cure itself isn't even necessary if you would realize that, medicinally speaking. You follow me?
Yes. This is real to me on a certain level, because you still hear so much agreement or belief.
All right.
The ideas of
Understand it is simply a matter of priorities in your system, the system you have created your society to be, and also understand that if it is real in your reality, you can experience this idea far and away before the majority of your civilization does. It is up to you. You will simply attract yourself to the situations that are necessary for you to participate in whatever type of experience you can be willing to co-create. You follow me? Yes.
There's a lady named Barbara Ayers who works with people that have brain damage, and she's doing real work.
Do you mean that you have attracted yourself to information that way? That you coincidentally allowed yourself to interact with individuals around you that have all the information you need, thereby allowing you to know you are not isolated in your situation? That you can gain all the information that you require in your life simply through all the individuals that you interact with, because they are representative of all the different portions of yourself you are willing to look at?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of neat when you started talking about the brain. I come here to ask these questions, and all of a sudden we were talking about the brain, and I went, all right.
Thank you very much for your willingness. Thank you, Heartstone. Hey.
About the earthquakes we have having?
Yes, energy gates, representations of the crystallization of certain portions of your mass conscious subconsciousness.
We're expecting to have a big one in a few weeks.
You are. Who expects it?
I don't know.
What's the word?
I don't never expect it.
Thank you. Then it is not in your reality, and you will not experience it, no matter who else does. Recognize in our perception, this is your opportunity to decide what you prefer to be your reality and not to create the idea of the reinforcement of what you might perceive to be the release in negative ways through your feelings. You follow me? In this way, to some degree, also through many of the individuals in your society, we can from time to time assimilate some of the information and quote-unquote keep you posted. But in this way, do recognize that any recognition, in that sense, is only a sensing of the energy that is in existence at the time the so-called prediction is made, and does not in any way, shape, or form mean it cannot change according to your desire to change it. You follow me? Relax. Do understand that many of you have chosen to live where you do geographically upon your planet because you like living on the edge. Therefore, you will use the energy and channel it through yourselves in constructive ways and will allow yourselves to reroute that energy into creativity. Now, we will at this time share with you a physiological symbol of you may find it enjoyable if you take what you call a spherical quartz crystal and what you call a tube of steel, and around that, sleeving that on the outside, jacketing it, a tube of copper. Place the quartz crystal in the end of the tube so that it is attached snugly. Drive the tube into the ground near what you call a fault. It can be a radiator for much of the energy and release it in positive ways.
Right.
You follow me? You may also find that there are many other devices that have existed upon your planet and have been utilized in many civilizations that take advantage of the harmonic resonances of your electromagnetic field, such as what you might view as stone wells that have a bottom that do not seem to be for any purpose, sunken into the ground. These are resonating cavity chambers, which you can also duplicate out of what you call bricks. Round, 6 feet in diameter, 10 feet, 12 feet in diameter. Approximately the idea, again, 6 or 12 feet deep. Whatever the diameter, that is the depth. And in this way, sunken into the ground, with a little bit of a wall up around it, perhaps no more than 3 feet high. These brick pits can also be resonating chambers to allow there to be the capturing, so to speak, of the energy in that way, of the earth vibrations, and placed in the middle of that chamber, the 2 poles with the crystal, sunken into the ground, at least 6 feet into the ground, at least 3 feet above the ground, or above the bottom of the pit. These can function as energy release valves. Yes? Vibrational energy.
Bashar, this is happening now. Are people actually taking advantage of it at this point?
Of the energy?
Yes.
Many? Yes.
Yeah.
So in a specific way, the crystal ball and the cylinder?
No. This is our sharing to you as our perception of what your mass consciousness can take advantage of as a symbol to reflect how it is willing to now allow some of the energy to be rechanneled in positive ways.
Let's do it.
Is one ball enough?
It will depend upon what you think of the fault. In this way, you will find that the idea can simply be in one area, area along what you consider to be a major fault, any area that you feel intimate with in terms of its proximity to you, you can place along one side or both sides anywhere from 3 to 7 pits, in whatever arrangement seems appropriate. Always there being more on one side than another.
How long are the tubing supposed to be?
At least, in your terms, once again, 9 feet. For there to be 6 feet in the earth and 3 feet above.
And how large of a ball?
In this way, it will suffice for the idea of 6 feet in diameter, though you can do 12 feet in diameter.
The ball?
The sphere.
Yes.
The crystal. The crystal.
Crystal, in this way, can simply be the idea what you call 6 of your inches to 1 foot. Anywhere in that range. Preferably either the 6 or the 12. Sure! You!
Would you be willing to suggest some means by which I could even out some of the energy that I'm experiencing?
Even out!
Blend it. Well, I feel that it's mostly...
Yes! Yes! Up straight! Right now. All right? Inhale. Exhale. Feel the inhalation of energy in your solar plexus. Exhale it through your mouth. In your imagination at this time, allow yourself to invoke the balancing of your energy field, your blue-white electromagnetic energy field. See it as a sphere around you, completely around you. Allow it to contain shades of what you would call polished granite gray, shiny, thin, crystalline, luminescent, but solid. Feel the balancing of the earth. Understand that you are an extension of your planet, and that any energy in your terms that you feel to be overwhelming for the extension that you are is safely absorbed by the majority of the crystal of your world. Always, and only always, do you, as a crystalline extension of your world, ever receive only just enough to allow you to function in a comfortable state of existence, to form one of the poles that extends from the surface of your planet skyward, that connects up to all the other poles on your planet that you call all the individual beings upon it. You are a terminal in that way. You receive only your own share. Allow the rest to be balanced in all the other individuals on your world through the auspices of the planet itself. Know that you are a harmonious crystalline form of love and light. And breathe. 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 Move. Breathe. Relax. Breathe love, the love of your world, in and out. Feel it. Always connected, never separated. Thank you. How do you feel? As you move through life, understand that whether you take steps and remove 1 foot at a time from the surface, you are always still connected. There is always a pulse, a shaft of energy from you to the planet, from the planet to you. An unbreakable and unbendable rod.
What happens if you jump in the air?
It is still there. For the atmosphere is also only an extension of your planet. You are extended from the planet into the air so that there can be the radiance of the charge from the planet into the air through the terminal that you are. You follow me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes!
We've talked about levitation before, physical levitation.
And
And that if you can consciously unbalance the, say, the etheric flux around you, you can levitate your body. How do you do that? If consciousness is connected to the primordial field we're talking about, then that means that the force vectors involved in this field can be modulated by your thought.
yes.
And if that can be done, those are probably, I imagine, longitudinal waves with frequencies that aren't electromagnetic in nature at all, but, say, electrogravitational in nature.
It is one way,
That implies that there's also magnetogravitational waves.
in a sense.
I don't know any of the manifestations in the real world. Can you describe something, how would that manifest itself in the real world, magnetogravitational?
To some degree, what you refer to rarely as ball lightning. Spherical lightning that floats. It is in your world rare because it is an interaction of certain force vectors that do not need a high degree of consistency in your world. Okay. But they will, from time to time, form apex points that will allow such a manifestation to take place.
It's something we can harness. It's worth harnessing.
In a sense, although again, the idea from time to time, you will find, may have a spontaneous action in this way in what you call some of your cases of combustion. As, in this sense, simply recognize that the idea is that you will connect into whatever buffering zones are necessary to allow you to interact with it in a non-destructive way. Levitation may be one manifestation of that. But it carries with it the idea of a buffering zone in a sense, though that may or may not be consciously in the belief system of the idea of the individual doing it. Thank you!
Bashar?
Yes!
I was doing the exercise that you were giving Barnett, since I'm also experiencing quite a bit of pain in my solar plexus ever since the earthquake. One of the questions that I wanted to explore with you, though, in terms of the Orion energy coming through, I was given the message, or what came through was something about, I shall no longer carry the burden of my people. So,
do you feel lighter?
No. Well, I've been having like high fever and acceleration, fourth density symptoms extremely since the earthquake. And I do experience them though as pain.
It will level out. Relax. It will level out. It is simply that, now that that energy has been crystallized, and that burden has been removed, since you have been straining for so long, you simply are now surprised that you shot ahead that fast, because there's nothing holding you back. It was what we had referred to as some of the elastic effect. You have crashed through a barrier. Nothing restrains you. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
You will modulate your frequency. Relax.
Is this self-judgment?
Remnants, yes. Remnants of judgment.
Bashar?
Has that been of assistance?
Yes, thank you.
Cool blue dreams to you. Yes!
Bashar? Wait. Could you go on about release mechanisms and how they work to release us from those stresses that we feel so much?
Simply in this way, do recognize that you have, as a mass consciousness, created many different situations that occur in your life that will reflect when you are all in agreement as to making, let us say, a jump to another level. You increase your energy level and therefore, in a sense, transport yourself into another dimensional aspect of yourself. You are not the same you used to be. All it is simply redefining the idea that you are as a personality to allow the personality to now exhibit whatever new idea your consciousness is, because your personality is not who or what you are. It is an artificial construct that acts as your representative in physical reality. However your consciousness now decides to define itself can allow the shift to occur and the release to occur in the physiological personality structure to be able to exemplify or represent the new idea your consciousness has become. All it takes is trust, allowance. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you. Guys.
Yes. I wanted to say that, it seems that during the summer time, all the way is hot, and like frequently during the winter time too. It's like I can never get, like really cool enough, like to become comfortable. And I'm wondering if that. Well, like one thing that may like relate to that is that I eat extremely large amounts of hot pepper constantly, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with the fact that
it is to some degree a reflection. In this way, it is simply a reflection on your part that you think you need to move faster and faster.
Oh no. Wait a second. So is the implications of that to move faster, or is the implication not to slow down?
In a sense, to slow down, because the idea is that when you supercool yourself, you become more conductive of the type of acceleration you actually desire. So when you cool down and crystallize is when the energy can move through you without creating friction. You follow me? You are simply attempting to believe that the energy must go through you as you are, faster and faster and faster than it is naturally inclined to do.
Sure, would not fast also be beneficial?
Are you making the joke?
Well, like a fruit, total fruit.
We understand. In this way, you can recognize that it may, in your terms, be of reflective benefit for that individual, but what does that individual think?
Oh, well, sometimes I do fast, but like it's really interesting that you said that, because I tend to go real fast. It's like I drive fast, I think fast, move fast.
I see.
I'm just very fast.
You are eternal. What's your hurry?
So New York.
Oh my God.
I see.
It was just an accident that he was born there.
No comment.
I'm trying to understand, what you're saying about, like
Where do you live now?
Flowtown here. Laid down. But the thing that I'm trying to ask is, when you talk about supercooling, supercooling, it has less molecular activity or movement than just regular.
But it allows energy to go through it faster. Because it is crystallized in a latticework structure that does not create a difficulty for the energy to find a path.
It is the paths that are aligned. And it is not the structure that must do the moving. It is the energy through it that makes the difference.
This is like a superfluid.
Yes.
Okay.
Superconductivity.
So, like, your recommendation is to simply slow down.
What is your goal? You are eternal.
Great question, but it's like...
Understand again. The paradox is that when you do, in fact, balance out and stop trying to push yourself, you will experience the sensation of acceleration. That is the paradox. Do recognize, it is not that things speed up. That is not what acceleration is. Things do not speed up. You are living in the moment. And though, therefore, you may have the perception that things are speeding up by living in the moment, it is simply that things are not taking as much time. You are not creating as much time experientially. That is what makes things seem to be speeding up, but that is simply your biased point of view from the way you have always looked at things in your physical reality. You think acceleration is the speeding up of something. It is the ceasing of the creation of as much time. You follow me?
Yeah.
Live in the moment. Enjoy every moment. You know what you say happens when you are having fun.
You know what I say.
Time flies. That is why. Because you are living in the now and not creating as much time. It is not that time is going by and you just haven't noticed it. It is not that time has sped up. You haven't created as much in your reality. So you simply reinsert yourself along the agreed-upon time track wherever you need to. You skip over intervening moments. You don't create them, whereas others do. You follow me? Thank you!
Thank you.
Bashar?
You! Then you!
How can we increase the moment?
Increase the moment. Live in it. Fully. Live now.
Expand those pools and expand. Can we do it by the mechanisms of the pit and the crystal? And
You can do it in whatever way your imagination is excited about doing it. But once again, in that sense, simply recognize, if you are doing it to try to get somewhere better than where you think you are not living in the moment. You follow me? Allowing whatever it is you are doing at any given moment to be just as perfect as anything else you will ever do, just different, is living in the moment. You are not trying to get anywhere. You never go anywhere. You follow me?
you simply expand?
In a sense, but even that is a notion of going somewhere. It is all an idea. It is all a shifting of perspective.
What is the movement of the moment? That is in mind.
The movement of the moment is in recognizing that when you live in the now, then you are infinitely accelerated. Being infinitely accelerated is the same thing as being everywhere at once. Being everywhere at once is the same thing as standing perfectly still. You follow me? That is the movement of the moment. No movement at all. It is the understanding of yourself as all that is, and acting like it. Thank you. Yes?
This morning, when I woke up with incredible pain on my right side.
Incredible.
And,
Obviously pretty credible to you. Where it came from.
Yeah. The deal is that it's been difficult to breathe all day.
I see.
Whenever I take, I've been breathing
Every
very
single position. When you lie down, when you stand up, when you sit. Are they all, quote unquote, difficult?
Well, uncomfortable.
All right, uncomfortable.
And so all day long I've been breathing shallow because it's like a stabbing pain to breathe or breathe regular.
I see. one moment. Will you do me a favor?
I'll try. Yes.
You'll what?
I'll
Yes or no?
I will. Yeah.
Thank you. In your imagination right now, in your what you call mind's eye, will you imagine a picture of a long, bright, gleaming, shining, sharp blade of steel?
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yes.
Is it surrounded by darkness?
Yes, it is.
Is there a face behind it?
No.
Can you allow yourself to imagine a face behind it? How does it make you feel when you do?
Okay. Neutral.
All right. Can you feel that you can communicate with the face behind the steel?
Yeah. It's kind of like communicating with myself.
All right. Do not rationalize. All right? Simply allow it to say something to you. What has it said? All right. What feeling comes up in you when it says so? Not what do you think you should feel. What feeling does, in fact, occur? The first feeling.
The feeling that the pain that's there, or what is sitting there is okay.
Why?
Natural.
Natural. In what way? How did such a pain become natural?
Part of me.
Yes. Do you prefer it?
No.
Then why have you allowed it to be a natural part of you?
Because all day long I'm just accepting that it's there.
All right. What are you feeling?
I don't know, I get emotional. I don't
Yes,
know why.
yes. Go ahead. Release it. Release it. It is all right. You feel emotional because you are using your energy motion, your emotion. You are now centering from the place you have now allowed yourself to face. It is all right to feel the energy flow through you. It will not deplete you. It will not drain you, as you were drained of your life's blood. Forgive yourself and anyone else you think needs forgiving. You are only passing through a doorway of yourself and creating a memory in the present of things that you wish to forgive and equalize. You may now find that relationship and interaction with individuals in your life and individuals not yet in your life but soon to be will now take on a new kind of crystalline quality and brightness. And there may not be the apprehension of getting involved in those types of relationships, be they the idea you call social and or business, for fear of being stabbed. How do you feel?
It's a big relief.
Thank you. Thank you for forgiving yourself, for knowing that you deserve the same unconditional love that all that is thinks you deserve. That anything you have ever experienced has been for the purpose of allowing you to integrate now and find joy and ecstasy in your life. You are no longer under the knife. Its shadow does not fall upon you anymore. I thank you for your willingness to shift your perspective into a different facet of the multidimensional crystal that you are, to recenter yourself and glow from within the light force that sustains you forever and ever and ever and ever. Thank you, my child. Our love to you, the love of the universe to you, and through you. Sure! Yes!
So the glass, the greens and the blues, the twinkles, and the net, the strings you're talking about?
To some degree, in this way, they can be representative of the matrices that represent the connection points of all different universes. You may interpret them in that way. We also simply were specifically referring to something that is a notation in your physicist's understanding. The idea that there is a compaction of reality along lines called strings. They do not understand so much exactly what they represent, yet from our perspective, they are the lines that define the interaction and interplay and intercedes and supporting framework of all the physicalized universes. They can be perceived, in a sense, as a matrices of graphs and geometrics from time to time in an energy sense.
That would then explain the motion of moving through and past the graph, looking into what seems to be, right now anyway, it seems to be just blackness.
Yes. Now you can also understand that many times the idea is that when you begin to render your external symbols more and more simplified, then they may simply become the first level of introduction in physical reality, which is simply the simple geometrics, rather than having to take on such complexities of form in order to represent something to you. You are simply dealing at a very rarefied crystalline level in that way, and converting all of your symbology into simplicity. You follow me?
Yes.
Oh, fine. You!
Sure.
You!
I'd like to share that if anybody is experiencing a difficulty in breathing, I can help them in rebirthing at the break. If you want to breathe, and I can help you do it.
Jackie!
Yes, love.
Thank you, dear. For expressing the love of your unique facet and sharing.
Sean?
You!
I have fallen in love with a 3 acres of land. I have 3 months to come up with money.
A time limit. How exciting! You do enjoy these games, do you not? Time limits, only so much time. Hurry, 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 hurry. Everything will fall apart otherwise. Nothing will be as it is supposed to be.
I don't know if money's going to be there. I was expecting it to.
Money?
Yeah.
Is that the only way that the land may be the idea you can share?
This particular piece of land that I fell in love with, the feelings I have for it is quite a bit of money, yes.
Why? Not that money is not necessarily going to be the way that will manifest, but why does it have to be the only way?
As far as I know, in
As far as you
California.
Oh, I see. So what you are saying is, that is the way it is, and thereby defining the only reality you will allow to be valid.
Well, you may meet the millionaire that would like for you.
Could be. Is that even remotely possible to you?
Of course.
Oh, of course. Oh, of course. Oh, first it was, I've got to have that money, and now it's, of course it's Is it not also just as possible that you may run into somebody who already has the land?
The land?
Some land. that you may discover to be even more appropriate than the one you were thinking of getting?
Well, I have money on this property already.
All right. But again, so what?
I felt very close to this particular piece of
All
property.
right. Then simply recognize, however, we are not saying it cannot, in your terms, come into your reality that way. However, let us plant the seed within you that the idea many times is not so much the so-called quote-unquote achievement of the goal, but the idea of the interaction of getting there itself. That is all you need. You follow me? Relax. If you know that the idea you are being in life requires that land, that land is the simplest and the easiest way for nature, for all that is, to support you in being the idea you are willing to be 100% in trust, then take it for granted that if that is what is necessary, it will be there. However you need to acquire it, it will be there. You don't have to worry about the methodology. All you have to know is that you are being the idea 100% that excites you the most. And if the land is part of that, then you will have it. If you don't need it. You follow me? Relax. Trust. Be the idea. You do not have to worry or analyze the mechanisms of being the idea. That is automatic. All ideas come with all the ingredients necessary to continue to support you in being the idea you are automatically, synchronistically, coincidentally, not accidentally. Relax. If that land truly is a part of you being an idea, there is no way it will not be yours. No way.
Well, that's what I figured, but I just wanted to make sure.
Wanting to make sure is the surest way to not be the idea that represents that the land is yours. You follow me? Are you sure? What exciting idea are you going to do with that land?
Build a house.
Oh, a house. How beautiful. Will it be a reflection of your spirit? All right. What else? And why do you feel the need to build a house on that land?
That's what I was wondering.
Maybe. So.
And I fell in love with a piece of dirt.
All right. It loves you too. Allow yourself to go and live. Whether the house is there or not, you are your own house. Experience the relationship as you will. Proceed as opportunities allow themselves in this way, as you allow opportunities to manifest to you. But do not put expectations that they have to manifest in a certain way, or you will still not feel the relationship. You follow me? Allow yourself to allow whatever opportunities do occur to be the opportunities that need to occur. For what you expect this relationship to mean may not be what it actually is. Live the relationship for what it is, not the expectations you think it should be. All right?
Yes.
You may all take a short break. Oh, I'll say, sharing!
Bashar?
Hey!
Someone told me of a incident of a jet reconnaissance plane that disappeared over the week over California somewhere that hasn't been found. Did you have any comment on that? That's all the information that I have. That's told me.
Our perception is that the idea you are discussing in this way is the reference to what you call your military craft.
Right.
Or it has been found.
Or it has been. Oh.
In this way, simply recognize that the idea is that your military does not want most of the public to know anything about it. So, it has been accordant with the idea of what you call, once again, secrecy, as it is representative of one of their designs that is not generally publicly known for what you call stealth reconnaissance. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Thank you! Sure!
Bashar,
Hey!
does the government have any anti-gravity devices or spacecraft?
They have spacecraft. They have not completely been able to make sense out of the operation.
They have spacecraft, but it's solid propellant or
No. Not their own.
Oh.
Recovered from the idea you would call crashes. In this way, at an early stage of interaction between other civilizations and your own, you find that certain types of craft were able to be, in your terms, interfered with in their navigational systems with the idea of what you call your radar. This created the idea of crash. These ships have been recovered, are still in the possession of your government.
How about the beings that were in the craft?
At this time, the idea, most of the original beings in this way, of course, in your terms, physically dead.
You did say most.
There were others alive for a time, in other incidents.
Oh, and what kind of substances was the spacecraft made out of?
In this way, you'll find combination copper, magnesium hulls, very thin, multi-layered. Again at this time, for the most part, though they have made some quote-unquote progress, much of the idea of the manufacturing and the actual material eludes your scientists.
Where are these aircraft stored?
They have been moved many places from time to time. Our perception of one of the main areas still is in the area that you call New Mexico.
Is that really, what about the Roswell incident?
Okay.
It seems like copper would conduct heat if they're
It
traveling.
is not copper as you understand it, nor is there friction as you understand it.
Right. In the field that the ship would generate, it would be inertia-free and friction-free.
Yay.
I'm interested in building a craft.
Go ahead, have a good time. There is much information and literature to avail yourself of the ideas that already exist in your society, and there are individuals that are present with you tonight of your time that are aware of some of that information and have already begun the procedures of their own experimentation. They can make themselves known to you.
I'm one of the guys that helps with that device.
Well then.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Well then.
We're going for it.
There are still other individuals.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get together on it.
All right.
I'm just,
Yes,
fishing.
Yeah. What bait are you using?
I don't want to get pulled in by my catch.
I see. Then you'd better let your line out.
I don't know, I wouldn't...
Have a good time. From this point forward, as the so-called experiment stands, only one comment is necessary. The fastening of the two aluminum hemispheres needs to be more solid.
Yeah.
Yes. Just making sure.
While we're on the subject, can we discuss a few other things about it?
The only comment necessary.
All right. And how about on the control mechanism?
The only. At this time, you have taken it to a point of doing. No No more is necessary from us now.
Whoa. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was very excited today.
You still are. Thank you. Yay.
I've been going through a phase very much like when you were describing at the beginning of the discussion.
Oh, how unusual.
Isn't it amazing? A lot of confusion and instability and
Yay.
fear of job change
Yay.
and fear.
Yay.
I also was going through periods of depression and
Yay.
understanding that was a lot to do with integrating,
Yay.
going inside.
Yay.
Around the same time, about a month ago, my father became really depressed and he was in New Jersey
Yay.
after some major surgery.
Yay.
And I felt a real pulling to go and visit him.
All right.
I had a strong feeling he was mirroring back to me some things.
And you to him. May I thank you for this opportunity to create a little bit more of an analogy definition of the idea once again of depression. As we have already discussed, the idea is that it's not negative. You are going within when you know the answers you need are not outside of you. You go to where you know they are within. It is meditation. Judgment makes it negative. Judgment that there is something wrong with you, that you have to go within to find the answers. That is why depression becomes depression in a negative sense. Look at it this way, if you will. Consider it depression. In your own terminology, a board meeting of all your parts. You get together and decide to redefine what you are as a company. So that when you emerge from the meeting, you have a new identity.
I think is that basic concept actually is not necessarily negative, but arising in a more balanced perspective.
You might utilize this particular analogy with his energy. It might be something he can relate to. All right?
I'm wondering what he was showing me. When he gets depressed, he's extremely negative. And
Simply a lot of judgment.
yeah, and it's very, very painful.
Painful.
I felt like it was a real coincidence that we were both going through it.
Of course, it is no accident.
Okay, let me ask you this. I had felt in a way my father's part of me was depressed.
Oh,
His part that took care of me and faces his experiences, and that part was depressed. And I found it interesting my father was depressed at that time. Do sometimes family members mirror?
Yay.
Almost like archetypal.
Yay. Very good. Thank you for being so insightful. But I always get a charge out of it. Sure. Hey.
There's a new friend of mine called Carolina that I was talking to last night.
Hey.
And she had a very disturbing dream last night.
Oh, disturbing.
Yes. And she said that she was married and had a few children, and that she felt herself able to look at her house, and the house would change according to how she wanted it to change, just by thought.
Oh.
That's the good part.
How unusual.
Then she had some painters come to paint the house, and they were very negative, hostile, angry people. They began painting the walls, and she noticed that the walls began absorbing light, taking the light from her and the light from objects, and this disturbed her quite a bit, and she kind of woke up. And she was here earlier, but she's still a little upset. She's out taking a walk.
All right. Then that is what that individual desires to do, is reconnect to those portions of themselves. And remember that the idea of enacting those dreams out means you are integrating those pieces that they represent.
Right.
It is not an indication that there is something yet to do. It is an indication that the integration has occurred. Remember the idea of the habit that when you have an experience, you still think a process is necessary beyond having the experience itself in order to feel integrated. Having the experience is the integration.
Right. Well, what I thought of on the symbolism of that is that she had parts of herself that were polarized to light, and that she had made a decision, or eventually she told the guys to leave, the painters to leave, and they finally left. So she had made a decision to be a being of love and light.
Like you!
It caused a little disorientation in her.
Of course.
Well, thank you.
Oh. Thank you.
Bashar?
I've been having dreams for the past 6 months of a person that I knew well about 16 years ago, but I haven't seen that person since. And
Now, you just contradicted yourself.
what did I say?
Oh, you mean physically.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's my point. Did I see that person? I mean, did that person have the same experience that I was having?
On some level of their consciousness.
Why?
Perhaps on a remembered level, to some extent, although there may be different interpretations. But understand that in that way, when you experience some of those ideas, it is generally indicative that you are communicating with some level of the consciousness of that individual, whether they are aware of it or not. Although it is likely that on some level they are. Particularly if it has been going on for that long.
It's been going on a lot, and I can't figure out why this person...
Well, what do they represent to you?
It's always great. I enjoy it very much.
Then have a good time. You are learning, you are growing, and you are sharing on many different levels. Being asleep and being out of your body is not the ending of doing things. It is a very busy time. You are very interactive, paying many visits, having many interactions, doing many things. You follow me?
Yes, I do follow you.
Allow the representations to be whatever they are to you at this time. It is not necessarily so that the physiological return of this individual is necessary, but it might occur, and in this way is only indicative that you are now allowing yourselves to reflect to each other what you each represent to each other so that you can utilize it in your own life, that particular aspect of you.
I'm always having very visual...
You also were twins at one time.
Me and the person I'm dreaming about?
Yes.
That's interesting. I'm having very visual dreams of what this person looks like today, because this was 16 years ago.
Hey.
Where I can see them up close. I mean,
The
completely.
twin energy is still very, very strong.
Wow.
Pleasant dreams.
John?
Thank you. You! Then you! Then you.
Over the years, I've possibly had maybe 30 dreams. I was a professional baseball player for 14 years. And in my dreams, I'm always like with Dodgers, Angels, or whatever club. And I never can get up the bat. I'm coming up the bat. And when I can't find my bat. I'm outside the ballpark.
I have a funny feeling that most of the individuals present tonight think they can interpret that. Are you having a good time in your life now?
Pretty good, yeah.
Pretty
But
good.
baseball was my love.
Was?
Well, it still is, but I mean as a player.
All right. What excites you now?
My business.
As much?
No.
Why not?
Quite a bit. Lately, it's getting close because
All
of the.
right.
But I really love baseball.
When you allow yourself to simply know that you can utilize all you have learned from your excitement in another idea in many different ways, there will not only be one way to circumnavigate the bases. You will create your turn at bat by allowing yourself to reapply the same energy in a number of ways. Be all of the perspectives. Be all of the players. Look at the entire game from every point of view. All the players, all of what you call the spectators. Be the field of play itself. Be the sky overhead. Be the atmosphere of interaction. Apply the excitement. Knowing that if you are willing to recognize that you have created in your life a timing of shifting of what it is you are doing, you have not lost anything. You are still the same 100% entity and energy. You are simply choosing where to apply different portions of that 100%. You have not lost anything. It is simply up to you to determine whether or not you wish to be conscious of where all of that 100% is. You may be allowing some of it to remain in the so-called past, but it is still there. Do recognize that as soon as you allow yourself to know that you are fully in the now, and everything in your life can be just as exciting in a different way, you will then be playing with all of your ability in other ways. And you will hit home runs all the time. In other ways. You simply set yourself up to show yourself that you have that type of energy manifestation capability. And you can apply it in whatever way you now find your life to be manifesting. The way your life is manifesting is no accident and no loss.
I could say something. When I was a boy, my idol was Babe Ruth, but he was way before me. But I wanted to have two things in my life. I wanted to achieve the power of Babe Ruth, and I wanted to break his home run record. Okay, I achieved his power, and it was well known in baseball. But I had bad luck. I mean, I never achieved the success.
Luck.
Well, it wasn't meant to be, right? Okay, it wasn't meant to be, right?
You chose it not to be necessary. That is what it was not meant to be means. You chose it to not be necessary. For you are simply recognizing that you will, quote-unquote, break other types of records. You simply now have the opportunity to take all that energy that was not utilized in that manifestation and apply it in other ways. You will feel just as fulfilled when you allow yourself to know that you have not missed your time. But your time is always now.
Thank you very much.
By the way, there is an aspect, whether you understand the term or not is not necessary, but there is an aspect of the consciousness you have referred to around for you. You understand? It, on some level, some portions, does function as a guide. Thank you.
There's something you said at the beginning that I've been trying to sit with, and I need a little clarification, maybe.
Oh, one moment. Message coming through. You point where you want to go, and that's where you will go. Continue.
Just like Babe Ruth.
Good.
Continue.
One of the things is you're saying that there's going to be like a lot of sort of changing of like jobs.
Is already.
That's what I was going to say, is that a lot, myself as well as almost everybody I know is having major changes in their life. Where
Continue. I am paying attention. Simply reflecting that there is an opportunity for an individual here to recognize that what you are saying may apply. Not only are you listening, you are doing something else that you can do. Continue.
At any rate, one of the things is that I'm finding that I'm helping to reflect or whatever. Basically, that I'm getting the phone calls and, oh my God, this is happening to me. And you were saying that there might be ways that we might be able to help people get through that.
You will attract those individuals when you find them discussing with you, well, I can understand what's going on, everything seems to be coming apart. You will say, I can give you an idea as to why that may be.
So just to share that kind of information.
Yay!
Also, one of the individuals said that in one of the individuals said that all of the planets.
Continue.
All of the planets right now are in retrograde, and that is also reflecting to us that change, that around September and October they're going to start coming back.
Yes.
And so
The two doorways.
better.
Not better, different.
Okay, the other question. Well, let's put it this way. I think things will start integrating.
They are integrating now. They are simply unlocking first.
Right, and the thing is that what I'm experiencing is that they're unlocking and all the energy is lying around.
Yes.
It's just
Precursor to integration.
That's right. Okay.
Very uncomfortable.
Everybody
Does not have to be.
is happening.
Okay.
The other thing was that you were saying something about when you're feeling the disorientation and the instability and everything, that fears will come up. And I didn't quite understand what you said. You said that when the fears...
Portions of yourself may come up to the surface that you have for a long time kept in your so-called subconscious, and because that you may have habits of judgment in you, these portions coming up may come up in the form of fears. Simply, we are saying that it is not something you really have to fear, that it is only another portion of yourself coming to the surface of your consciousness.
Okay, so you're not saying it's the fears are the things that we've forgotten, but the things that we have forgotten may cause fear.
Yes.
Okay.
They do not have to, but they may.
Okay. I'm just trying to clarify that.
Thank you. Yes! Then you.
Physiologically, the change from third to fourth density, how does it affect?
Alignment of your cellular structure. You may, later on, or even now, from time to time, find that the physiological things in your world may seem to be a bit brighter, more colorful, actually glowing.
What about individual body types and, like, will there be changes in...
To some degree, there will be a type of evolution. You will find that you will once again rely less and less upon your ideas of internal organs and more upon your glandular system. So the idea is that many of your internal organs, according to the idea of the passage of time, may cease to function. When you sustain yourself more and more on energy, you will not need to process the idea of digestion of fiber or fabric in that way.
I noticed my eye colors sort of changing.
That will be one of the reflections as well.
Is there any other? What about newer...
The idea is that you may find, as some of you may have already found, that you will either perceive in yourself or in others. Now, I will use your terminology. The strangest sensation that their skin is no longer made out of the things you used to think it was made, but carries with it a little bit more of a silicon-like quality. Your cellular structures will also contain more silicon. As you become more crystallized. Crystallized.
Gotcha. Will kids be born, new kids that are being born, will they be born with slightly different body types? Or?
You may notice a general pattern occurring in this way. To some degree, there may be, again, something within the eyes. Mostly for now, it will be mostly within what you call the demeanor. And the openness.
Amanda is a little girl like me, but what's special significance, or where have we met before? I can't really...
Many places, many times. Explore and discover. For us at this time, no comment is necessary. You will find out. We do not want to spoil the surprise.
That's fine.
Thank you.
There are a couple of things.
All right.
The first is this sensation, this impression that I've been experiencing, which is, and this is not judgmental or has any negative attachment to it, but the idea of saying goodbye.
Hey.
I feel like I've been saying goodbye to a lot of people.
Well, as you become a different vibration and other individuals may choose to be another vibration, then you will simply not find yourself interacting so much in the reality into which you are solidifying. That is all. You're only allowing a cognition to come of how you are changing based upon what you see reflected in other individuals and your proximity to them.
I feel as if it's a clearing of space.
In a sense, yes.
In a very positive way.
Oh, yes.
As if and again, I don't know, the solitude
We understand.
is welcome.
Yes.
Okay. And on the other side of that, what I've also been experiencing, and I wanted to share this because I wondered if anyone else had, is the sensation of looking around at people all the time and seeing, not so much seeing the physical, but seeing something inside the physical that's constantly moving.
Yay. Anyone else?
Yeah. And it's been really kind of fun.
Kind of.
It's been fun.
Not like you.
On a more smaller portion of that, I've noticed that has also been expressing itself in things like deciding to not have my bank card work for me, and so 5 minutes later it doesn't.
Oh, what?
Car accident. I mean, the little things are, as we were talking
Car
about.
interaction.
Oh, can I ask you about that car interaction? That car interaction was coincidentally with someone who reflected just what I had been thinking about all day about what I wanted as a reflection for myself.
Not again. Another coincidence.
Was that all the significance that was attached to that interaction?
Was that all?
Not all in a demeaning way, but was that?
There are a couple of more things.
There are.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I have a couple of questions I want to ask you. One is...
You had? What happened to them? Oh, all right.
One is an individual in my life that I've stopped seeing and communicating with, and I was just wondering if you could give me some information as to what relationship we may have had.
No. Do not mean to be stubborn, but you are in the middle of something, and we find that we will be, in your terms, interfering. Take your power back. You will understand. Just take your power back.
The second question is relating to my career, which I feel a great deal of lack of motivation.
Your career. Is your career the most exciting thing you could be doing in your life?
It could be.
What is it?
Not at the moment.
What is?
Pursuing my own self-discovery.
Have a good time. Do what is the most exciting thing, and it will unexpectedly lead you exactly where it is you have desired to be. You are simply assuming that there is only one path, and that path is only represented by certain symbols you will allow to be representative of that. Follow it. Then you will always be in synchronous conscious harmony with the path you chose to be. Whether it seems as if where you are going is taking you where you think you should be or not doesn't make a difference. Follow your excitement, and you will unexpectedly wind up where you thought you would never get by following it.
I understand that, but a lot of people in my life seem to...
A lot of people in your life.
Are acting negatively.
So what? This is your opportunity to decide whether you believe it is true for you or not. By surrounding yourself with reflections, that will give you the opportunity to decide whether you are going to exercise your own self-empowerment or give it away to all of them. This is your opportunity. This is it. Take it. Thank you.
Two questions. The first is, since our belief system is a template upon which our reality becomes manifest, if there's something in our reality that we choose not to prefer, when it comes to a point where we choose not to prefer it any longer, and we get in touch with the belief that might be assisting that manifestation, and we want to change the belief. So how does one...
All right. You are putting an extra step in there that does not need to be
Okay,
there.
then.
Again, it is the understanding or the belief that you think you need a process beyond cognition.
Oh, okay.
Follow me. Simply preferring the change, knowing there is something to prefer, is the changing of the belief. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the perception that there's something else to prefer.
Oh, okay.
There is no extra step necessary.
I got stuck on that.
But it does not find itself to be that restrictive.
No?
No. The group consciousness. Now, the idea of, again, perhaps preferring, as we have suggested, to be the color blue with 6 arms, may be your preference. And it is not that you cannot create that. But if it is not befitting the group consciousness, then if you do create it, you will no longer be in the group conscious physical reality. You follow me? It is not so much that you cannot create what you desire, you will simply find yourself associating with whatever reality needs that manifestation to be of service to them.
Oh, great. Okay. The other thing is that last week I spoke with an entity to inform me that there's a little boy around me named Igor, and that in my dream state I've been assisting him and protecting him, and that he wants to come to me at this time and thank me and send me love. And I didn't ask, and I wanted to ask now, what did I protect him from, and what is my relationship to him? I mean, it's very interesting. At the first time when I had a full...
All we are allowed to share at this time is that there are some connections in what you would call past lives in a love sort of way.
Been loving an eager little boy.
Your spontaneity is touching.
Thank you.
Thank you. I thank you for joining me in the now and allowing yourselves more and more spontaneity of interaction, willingness to share all that you are.
Yes. More importantly, I was wondering why I co-created him to interact with me via this entity. What he symbolized for me, that could be it, but I was wondering.
It is a reflection of what we have already discussed, that many times you still feel that there has to be an intermediary process between two ideas, rather than simply recognizing the connection as one event. Thank you.
I have a father that I really have difficulty communicating with. I can enter into a phone conversation with him with the idea of having a nice conversation and so on, and then all of a sudden, it starts to get really strange between us.
Strange?
Yeah, strange. I feel like, I feel like he just, from my viewpoint anyway, I feel like he doesn't allow me to just, to be who I am and say what I want to say. And
I see. And do you do the same for him?
I try, but maybe I don't always do it.
Try.
I mean, I have judged him a lot in the past.
All right.
True. I've been working on not doing it so much.
All right. Do remember that you chose each other.
Yeah.
And do remember, therefore, that whatever that individual chose to be, you recognize that that is what you would need to become the type of personality you desire to be in this life. So he has, by being who he is, been of service to you to allow you to become who you are as a personality.
Right, but is it possible to really get into any real good level of communication with him?
You are in a perfect level of communication. You simply, for whatever you are communicating reinforces your beliefs about each other and your beliefs about yourself. So when you change the idea of who and what you are, the communication will change.
When I change the idea of who and what I am?
Yes.
In, having to do with him, or just
in a
apart
sense,
from that, or?
Both. rather than creating yourself to be who you are as you measure up against him, simply know who you are. And radiate that so that you will give him an opportunity to talk to you.
What do I do instead of that when I talk to him? And maybe I'm not aware of it.
Who are you? It's a simple enough question.
Yeah.
A being?
A being. Very good. Very good. A being. A being. What does that mean? What does that imply?
Like, pardon me. Define past that. One who exists.
One who exists! Thank you! That was not so difficult, was it?
Oh, I guess not.
All right. You recognize that you have created a scenario in which there seems to be, aside from yourself, other beings, others who exist. Yes, no, maybe.
Yes.
All right. You are a being. He is a being. You exist. He exists. Now, on one level, you are the same. All is the same. One being. But you have created a differentiation. Start from zero. Go into your meditations and explore from zero when you created the first differentiation between. The first differentiation that allowed you to know you were you and he was he. And re-examine through your meditations the agreements you have made. Then you may create, in your particular way of understanding, a particular perception of the beliefs that you have created about each other that may allow you some insight into the interactions taking place. Go back and reread the contract.
Are we talking about this lifetime? Because I know that I've done some other things.
Simply give it a 0 point. It does not have to represent any particular lifetime. It will be a general representation that has been themes throughout many lives. It will do.
You sure?
You follow me?
Yes.
For you, our perception at this time is simply that this type of internal dialogue is what will allow you to create external dialogues that will reflect your understanding of yourself. All right? Thank you. Yes!
That would apply the same thing with my older son?
Yes. With the inclusion of the idea of also feeling out some of the ideas, rather than just the dialogues and beliefs.
How can I open up the communication with him and get closer to him?
Again, by opening up communication within yourself. And what portion of you he represents. Get in touch with that portion of yourself that he reflects, and you will be talking with him. And he will be talking with you. Thank you.
Does it help just to realize that you're running communication with the way to...
If you believe that that is something that will serve you, then yes. If you don't, let your imagination tell you what will. That is what it's for. Your imagination is tuned specifically to the vibration of the being that you are, and therefore is completely capable of supplying you with what methodologies work for you. Otherwise, it would be someone else's imagination.
Any relationships of people that you have?
Anything. Everything. You are all the relationships that you have. You are all the relationships that you have. You follow me?
Bashar, do you have any information on a planet called Andromeda?
It is not recognized in this way as a planet. It is recognized as what we call a galaxy, and is recognized as a level of consciousness. An organizational consciousness matrix. What you would refer to colloquially as a council, but not exactly. It is an association of energy, an association of awareness. And it represents to some degree a pulse of energy interaction between itself as representative of an overview of a particular energy consciousness matrix that represents many different galaxies surrounding that one. Does that make some sense to you?
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Yes.
Understanding that all relationships are an aspect of ourselves, I had an event happen with my sister last night
Do share.
that I'm curious about. I was going into a deep meditation, and I believed that I was connecting many aspects of myself, and especially what I call my higher self. I was talking to it and getting information back, and it was around 3 o'clock in the morning, and my sister was in another area of the city and picked it up, called me on the phone, and what I was curious about was I had no idea that I was sending it out to anything other than my higher self.
Well, that is simply sometimes the only way you will allow that to happen, when you are not aware of it. Otherwise, sometimes you can try too hard to make it happen. Many times you will connect up to other individuals when you are not trying to, because being unconscious of the connection is the way you will allow yourself to accomplish the connection. Whereas if you are trying to do that, then you may restrict yourself. It is also an indication for you that you are both connected to the same soul energy.
The oversoul energy. Okay. Next question is separation. I've been working on a lot of issues concerning separation, and
you and several billion others.
Yes. I plug in extremely dramatically to the idea of abandonment. And I've been doing a lot of work with it, and I...
A lot?
Yes. And I feel like there's still some kind of a plug in my solar plexus that isn't moving.
Isn't moving? Where do you suppose it would go?
Just sort of dissipate and allow more of a...
Can you imagine what that would be like if it did?
I can imagine it.
Oh.
I don't feel it, though.
You do not believe that your imagination is real?
Yes, I do.
Well, then.
In the visual, though, there seems to be an absence of connection with the feeling.
You are putting expectations on the way you think it should feel. And again, you still do not believe that it is real. If you believed it is real, then you would know that no matter what feeling you have, the feeling you have is a reflection of the blending, not something that reflects that the blending has not occurred. Then is when you will allow your physical reality to show it to you in its own good timing. Follow me. You are waiting for a reaction before you will allow yourself to believe that a reaction has occurred.
I'm not quite sure how to apply that.
The point is, you already have. The point is, you do not have to be sure of how to apply it. If you are simply sure that you believe that to be true, then you will allow your physical reality to show you that you believe it to be true. The point is that if you know it is true, you will not make a demand that your physical reality show you in a way that you think represents a change. You will simply allow the change to occur in whatever way it needs to, living your life with the assumption that a change has happened.
So if I don't prefer to feel the feeling anymore, the intensity of abandonment that way, then you're saying if I use my imagination to feel what it would feel like not to have that,
then you are being someone who does not have that. You are being an idea that does not contain abandonment. All you need to do is believe that you are that idea, and once again, not believe that there is some intermediary process necessary to manifest that idea that you are now being. That conceiving the idea is the birthing of the idea at the same time.
Even though the feelings are kind of disassociated from it.
Disassociated is fine. Simply trust that you are feeling your knowledge in the way you need to make sense out of it for you. Many of the definitions of the feelings you have been used to experiencing in the way you have been used to experience them in your life no longer apply. Every physical symbol is up for grabs and redefinition. Therefore, if you're simply feeling something that you have always interpreted as this, therefore it means that, do not put that definition on it anymore. Simply assume that however it is you are feeling is the way you feel after having made the change. Since you know that the change has been made. It is up to you to simply know the change has been made. Whatever feeling is there is whatever feeling needs to be there after the change has been made. You follow me? You think so? All right.
And see what feelings happen.
Yeah. And let the feelings that happen be the feelings that need to be there. Do not label them as, well, that feeling used to mean I used to feel that way, therefore I do not assume a change has been made since I'm still feeling that feeling and interpreting it the way I used to interpret it. Just let it be the feeling. You can recognize the preference in that way, but once again, recognize how very quickly you create your reality from your... And putting the pressure on yourself to have a feeling that you think should be feeling in itself can be what maintains the old feeling. You follow me? When you allow yourself to come to that fine line balance, when you do not have that many more symbols in that way, then you may find yourself teetering very, very quickly from one side to the other. And simply the slightest belief in one direction or the other is what manifests that reality and makes it seem so solid. You are right on the edge, many times more than you ever think, of transformation.
So are symbols have been our buffers in a way?
Yes.
So as soon as the tools start having their effect on you.
As soon as the tools are not made to be so much more important than what you know to be true, they will stop having a greater effect than your own knowledge of yourself. For then the knowledge will be within you and not in the tool. Emotion is a tool.
People who are going to have no more emotion.
You will be centered beings of infinite compassion and knowledge that do not need to express the polarity of the idea you usually think is emotion, but will express the vibration of unconditional love, which in a sense is really the only emotion there is. Everything else is a variation of it.
What sounds like that?
Several years ago, I started out gambling out of greed, and it turned into a tizzy of... as a method of discovering myself. I first heard about shockers, and I went up to the slot machine, I flowed some energy out, and I hit $2,300. and then every time I had a special lesson, and then another time I went through the whole casino, and I said, hey, this machine's going to hit tonight. And there was a guy flying it. It was $6,000 jackpot. And I sat down next to him, and I said, can I have that machine as soon as you're done? And he had a couple quarters left, and he hit the son of a bitch. And it was irritating, because I wanted to see a jackpot get hit that night. And I did.
You won as well, if you knew that was there.
Yeah, but
you did not need the money.
All right, so what happened after that? I didn't need the money?
You needed to know that you knew what you knew.
Okay, there is...
That is what made you abundant beyond measure.
Yeah, there's part of me that doesn't have that gratitude.
May I stop you right there for one moment? One moment. And thank you very much for pointing out the idea that we have been discussing of allowing yourselves to listen to what you say, and how many times what you say is an immediate reflection of how you believe your reality to be and so create it to be. The moment you allow yourself to believe that you can even with any degree of solidity and reality say to yourself, there is a part of me that, etc., you create the separations.
Like giving sound to fears.
Yes.
Manifest.
When you say there is a part of me, you create the part.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
And it also, in creating that part, creates the opportunity for you to no longer own it and no longer take responsibility for the effect that part creates.
The saying of it, or the actual believing of it?
Believing it, which usually means that is why you say it.
Yeah. Okay, so what I've been in pursuit of is that this if there's a $2 million jackpot out there, and it's funny because I go in there and I swear it's so clear that I've already won the thing, and I've dreamt about it, and it's actually happened. And there was one time I blinked. I swear to God, all the things were lined up there on the bottom line, just like they were supposed to be. And then I looked again, it disappeared. Yeah. And I go back to the room and all pissed off, my hotel room, and then I restudy my tapes and I re-go over my notes and everything. And
did you not learn anything from that?
That's the whole thing. I keep every time I get angry that I didn't win,
but you did win.
Yeah, it forces me to keep studying my notes and stuff.
But understand. When you saw what you saw, you were at that moment in the reality, in the parallel universe in which you did win, but then didn't believe it. So you snapped back. You did win. Allow yourself to continue to explore in whatever way is exciting for you. Any way and any method is valid. Learn from it.
Okay. The signal whispers tell me, well, the physical universe, that's too much to ask for. The physical universe can't deliver that.
Oh, it delivers that all the time and more. Many times when we say that you are exploring abundance, we say that money is not always necessary to allow you to know that you are abundant. However, if that idea that you are exploring is what excites you the most, then in all probability, that is the way the universe will deliver the idea to you. There is nothing that says it can't. Nothing at all except you. Now, all we would request is that you examine why you are doing this, for you may find that what you are learning by going about the idea is far more enriching than getting the money.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Therefore, not that it cannot happen, but simply recognize that you are always getting something out of it that makes you rich beyond measure. When you blend the two attitudes is when you will allow either possibility to happen, because either possibility will be equal and not something more than what you are already getting.
Okay, this notion that I shouldn't say I agree with this, but I guess I do. I admit that I do.
Who said you should not say?
That putting too much demand and such on the environment.
All right. All the demand is only upon yourself.
You know, this guy is a magic man one time.
Magic man.
Magic man. And someone asked him one time why he could lift a girl's dress up and not get an objection. And his answer was, because I didn't put an objection in.
All right.
And in a sense, I guess that's what I've been doing.
In a sense.
I've been putting...
But again, recognize it is not necessarily for negativity. You are learning what you need to be learning. So if any objections are being put there, it is for the purpose of enriching you in the way you think you need to be enriched.
So what are you saying? The barrier to getting things to manifest?
Is the service to you itself.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I have, but I haven't...
Believe that it could be possible or viable.
Well, I thought the limitation was greater than it's more of a limitation as it's more than it was a function.
Depends on what you are learning.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Can you tell me about the moon the other night changing from yellow to orange to red?
Simply in this way, recognize as the aberration of your atmosphere and the bending of light. It is not an uncommon phenomenon. You see it in your sun as well. And in any stellar body in this way, that proceeds to the horizon when you have a certain amount of particulates in your atmosphere to bend the light in that way. Now, it may have some symbolic interpretation for you in that sense. The one that we would simply observe symbolically is that the idea of red being a physiological vibration allows you to know that you are solidifying the unconscious into your consciousness, as the moon has been for a long time representative of the unconsciousness and the instability in your lives. Now you are allowing it to become something more physical, something more touchable, something closer, something real.
Yeah, Bashar, I've noticed the moon looking a lot larger. Is that real? Or?
Yeah.
It is perceptible in this way in what you call your own self-created illusions. If you were in your terms to quote-unquote technologically measure the diameter, you would find it to be absolutely no bigger.
Well, I've looked at it and
I know,
okay.
but it is not. It is also a perceptual phenomenon based upon the fact that now it is closer to the horizon, and therefore you are comparing it to objects that you are familiar with. When it is in the sky, you have no such comparison. It is the same size.
I know a few months ago it happened to me. It was so big.
Yes. In this way, we will once again thank you for solidifying the idea of your dream reality and allowing your physical reality to become like a dream. The blending that is taking place within each and every one of you allows us the opportunity to begin to experience the portions of the all that is that you are willing to consciously recognize yourselves to be. We thank you for sharing the beauty of your soul collectively and individually. And in this way, we bid you and send you our unconditional love and that of the blended consciousness of all the association in contact with you. In this manner, we will once again speak with you, share with you in the dream reality and dimension of imagination that we are becoming together with you. We bid you exciting dream life and life dreams, for they are one and the same in the dimension of your soul. We bid you a fond and loving